Labour actually suggested that my title should be Grexit, and it doesn't stand for Greek exit. It is Greenland exit. And since Greenland was the first and only country ever to leave the EU, or at that time the EEC, I think we rightfully earned that title. Greenland is the largest island in the world. It's approximately around 9 times bigger than the United Kingdom. The currency is Danish crown. The Greenland is a self-governing country today, and they have 2 representatives in the Danish parliament. So they have actually influence on Danish politics as well. In 1972, there was a referendum in Denmark, and Denmark, as you probably know, voted in favor of the EEC at that time. In Greenland, there was around 70% against this referendum, but they joined the EEC together with Denmark afterwards. This caused a lot of dissatisfaction in Greenland, because they could actually see how they were being sort of less important than they used to be. And then on top of that, German trawlers, they were doing illegal fishery on the east coast of Greenland. It was really the top of it. So there were really a lot of disappointment, which actually led to Greenland getting the home rule system in 1979. And just short after they got that, the first thing they wanted to do was to get out of the EEC. So in 1982, they held a referendum in Greenland, and a majority voted yes to leave. In 1985, Greenland finally left the EEC, so the first country ever to leave the EEC. And that night, the European Union lost 65% of their territory. Obviously, they weren't too keen on that. So I can see now why they're proposing to us again. And just recently, one of the ministers, and I can't remember his name either, because frankly, he's not very important to me. He doesn't feel anything about my country. He's not concerned about our fishing history, etc. But he just went there and sort of cried a little bit, and the newspapers, they all put that in front. Anyway, Greenland now, I think probably because of the debate you're having here in the UK, they now put it up and they say, well, maybe it's time for us to join again. Well, I think certainly not, because the reasons why we left, they haven't changed. On the contrary, I think we have many more reasons to stay out today. Because Greenland, at that time, they were also trying to scare us off. They said, you're going to be very, very isolated. It's going to have a huge impact on your economy, which, by the way, is based on support from Denmark and 90% of fishery today. It has not been the case. In fact, today, many people refer to Greenland as being in the middle of the world now. And that is because due to the rising interest in the Arctic, Greenland is actually in the middle of the road. They have the new shipping routes, a lot of things going on. And I think it would be best if they were to decide for themselves rather than to have the EU make some decisions which I think would never be in favor of the Greenlandic people, actually. Apparently, the fishermen's organization in Greenland, they agree, because they just last week said that they absolutely disagree with that we should take that discussion up again. Now, another thing about Greenland is the Danish realm, which consists of Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands. We actually have, I would like to call it our small kind of Danish Commonwealth. We do have a lot of things to struggle with. We do have a lot of things to solve. We do have a lot of construction errors, as I think you also have in your own Commonwealth. So maybe you can learn something from us, I don't know. I think we have to repair these construction errors before we take on something more, like, for instance, the EU. Because as it is, the EU is actually taking focus away from our Danish realm. And just a few weeks ago, I was on a panel debate in Copenhagen with one of the Faroese members of the Danish parliament, and he said, when Denmark joined the EEC in 72, they left the Danish realm. And that might not be quite true, but sure, many Greenlanders, as many Faroese, they're really dissatisfied with the fact that Denmark so much into EU politics, in fact, much more than they are to the ones in the Danish realm. And after all, we are all Danish citizens. So they're not even able to, because we're all Danish citizens, we have exactly the same rights, but we don't have the same possibilities. And they don't see that because everything is now going on in Brussels, and it is just becoming a huge problem. And I think that might be one of the reasons why the Greenlanders, certainly the Faroese, they're thinking about leaving us. Iceland left us once, and I'm fighting for the rest of the realm to stay together. So I think we have to fix these construction errors within our own relationship and just to concentrate on that. So I certainly hope we're not going to have a referendum in Greenland. I don't think that the time is right. And also for a small population, well, we're only about approximately 55,000 inhabitants in the world's largest island. And according to UN statistics, just in the not too distant future, we're going to be only 41,000 people. That's not many people. But for the EEC, the EU, I can see that if they gain back Greenland, they gain back a lot of territory, but it's also very, very easy to get control over such a small population. So I think it would be very, very dangerous. I think we should rather concentrate on the fact that maybe we should have a referendum in Denmark, because everyone under 63, well, we have never been asked what we want. So I think it's time to concentrate on that and just see how Greenland has actually been able to trade and negotiate and doing very well just without being, they did achieve to get an OCT status, which is for overseas countries and territories. And I think they are actually perhaps better off than they would ever be joining the EU. So I think we should concentrate on that, and I think perhaps the Danes now are looking a lot towards you. That's probably why they are now thinking about a referendum in Denmark as well, which I hope we will. And meanwhile, I hope that you will have a very, very nice election here, and I keep my fingers crossed for you. Thank you.